Hello everyone, Marathon Hurdler here, and I'm back with some more Final Fantasy VIII. Today we will be attempting, or starting, the SeeD exam, so let's go ahead and get to it. All we gotta do here, since we've already changed into our uniform, is leave the dormitory and run down this hallway, and it'll take us right into the next cutscene. So, yeah, pretty nice there. Don't have to go running all the way back around the garden, so pretty convenient. It's nice to see that Squall has finally decided to show some school spirit and put on his school uniform. Everyone else has been wearing their uniforms for quite some time, so it's good that Squall is finally getting on board here. And we're getting our squad assignments here, and apparently we're going to be teaming up with Zell Dinkt, who is apparently quite lively, which we all know is code for, as Squall is saying, someone just being loud. So, well, unfortunately we're not going to be able to switch party members. I don't think that's how exams work, but such is life. And we get a little cutscene here to introduce us to this guy, and he looks pretty familiar. I think if you guys were looking at, if you were paying attention earlier, this is the guy who was trying to chase down those hot dogs, and apparently he has a Mike Tyson tattoo, or Mike Tyson has a Zell tattoo, or someone has a weird face tattoo. They both have weird face tattoos, and apparently Zell knows who we are, and he's pretty excited to be with us, and Squall is not impressed. Just like Michaela, he is not impressed. And we get a little tutorial about his lemon break. Not important. Once we get to the point where we use it, and we will be using it a fair bit in this game, I will explain more about it then. And apparently Zell knows all about Cypher and what happened and what went down this morning, and news apparently travels very fast, because everyone knows we got our butts kicked this morning, so... But, well, I guess technically we weren't getting our butt kicked because it was actually training, but... Yeah, I don't think Cypher thought that. I think if Cypher thought we were training, he probably would not have... He probably would have been slashing up my face, so... You know... I don't think ignoring him is the right strategy either, because... If he's going to be trying to kill us, it's probably not a good idea. And... Of course, we all know if you're talking bad about someone, that person's always going to end up being someone you're stuck with for quite some time, and in this case that means Cypher is going to be our squad leader, and well, there goes Zell being pretty loud, so I'm guessing he's living up to his reputation, and just like our other team assignments, it can't be changed. Squall looks like he's about ready to die over there. Can't say I blame him. And there's Cypher, and unlike Squall, Cypher doesn't seem to have the same school spirit, and he just refuses to put on his school uniform. Don't know why he gets away with that, but maybe people are scared that he might go Mike Tyson on them and start cutting off their ears or something. I don't know. And he gets to be the leader, because, of course. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why you would say that, Cypher. I feel like you were just setting yourself up for that one. That was... Nothing good was going to come out of that. I almost wonder if he was doing that one on purpose, but... Apparently not, because he's not very happy right now, and... She's getting added to some list. I don't know what list this is, but... Maybe it's a disciplinary list. Though, I'm not sure if students are really allowed to discipline teachers, but... Sure, why not? And Kesis will be our squad leader because, well, maybe because she likes Squall. I don't know. It's a coincidence, but whatever. As long as this is the biggest coincidence that this game has, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And Cypher is being a fun guy to be around already, so this is gonna be. I'm sure this exam is gonna go great. We're having a great day. We're getting beat up and taking multiple exams, and we're stuck with this guy as our leader. This has been a great day. And we get a little mission briefing, I guess. Headmaster SeeD, the guy who runs this whole place, is going to be talking to us. So there's only 12 people participating in this exam. You know, this really makes me wonder how big this school is, because if you look at the building itself, it's quite a large building, and yet you only have 12 people taking the exam here, and I know there's like these prereqs and everything, but you would think that there'd be more than 12 people taking the exam at one time. and they have the infirmary with like one bed, and it's just, and we only saw one classroom. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that they have some explanation for this, and it's not such a big point that they really need to have an explicit explanation for it, but I always find myself thinking about these things, and 12 people taking an exam just doesn't seem like as many as I would expect. But, you know, whatever, it's fine. Well, thank you. I always, well, unlike Cypher, I appreciate people giving me luck. Always makes me feel, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like people are invested in my success, and nothing like having or feeling like people are invested in your success. So we're gonna go ahead and take off now, and yeah, I guess we're getting ready to head off for our exam. And we get a car. This isn't exactly the Lamborghini I was hoping to get, but well, I guess it's not the worst looking car I've ever seen. I mean, I would have preferred that other car, whatever that was, that red one down there, but I guess we didn't really have much of a choice. And apparently we don't believe in driving in our lane. I was gonna say it's clear who was driving, but really you could probably make the excuse that it was Cypher or Zell, but apparently it's neither. So whoever's driving doesn't really know what they're doing, and this line of questioning just doesn't sound right. I'm sorry. I don't know if they were trying to put some innuendo in there, but it really doesn't come off well. And you'd think at a school like this, Zell would have already seen a gunblade by now. I mean, on the one, I mean, it's just, this is supposed to be a military academy, right? And even if people have their own specialized weapons, you would think that people would be aware of what weapons other people use. So, you know, I'm sure they've all seen like pistols or whips, which Kesis uses and whatnot, but apparently not. It's something that's the one thing that they kind of point out in this game. Gunblades are apparently really rare, or people don't use it that often, or something. But still, you would think that someone would have seen it by now. And Zell is he's just a little bundle of energy, isn't he? He just can't sit still. He's just yelling and bouncing around. I can understand a bit why Squall is feeling that way, and I'd never noticed this before, but when Kesis was telling everyone to calm down, when she sat down, she just shook her head. She looked like some exasperated parent who can't stand her kids. I never actually noticed that before. It's kind of amusing. But she's always nice to Squall, so that's fine. And Squall apparently is asking about the mystery girl that no one saw. I mean, the room was right beside the bed, so if she was there, you would have thought someone would have seen her. Or if Squall really wants to know who she was, he could have just asked Dr. Katawaki, but I suppose not. And there goes Kesis again, being a little frustrated. I kind of like how Cypher is so able to egg everyone on. He's kind of like that mean older brother who knows how to just push everyone's buttons. But anyway, we get a brief little tutorial about how to drive. Nothing too difficult there. The nice thing about cars is if you're driving one, even if you're like me and you can't stay on the road, you don't run into any random battles. Having said that, it's not a particularly productive way or the best way or most efficient way to avoid battles if you don't want to fight them, because they cost money to rent, and then you have to keep them fueled up, and fuel costs $3,000 a unit, and it's just there are other ways to avoid enemies, and we'll be finding those in the very near future. So I really wouldn't worry about that if I were you. So okay. Now that we are here at Balam and we're getting ready to start the mission, at this point the exam has started. So what that means is, from this point forward, you don't want to talk to anyone unless the game automatically makes you, or you know, you have no choice. But if you have an option, you just want to avoid talking to everyone, because every time you talk to somebody, for some reason they deduct points, and as I mentioned in the last episode, points basically equal money. So every time you lose points or you lose, you know, part of your rank, that's basically money that you're giving up. So just ignore those guys standing there. And moving forward, we're going to see people randomly around, and you just don't want to talk to any of them. So, yeah. And, well, now I guess we're, I don't know what happened to the other boats, but we're making our way towards Dalit, or, yeah, I believe that's, did they mention that we're going there yet? Well, if not, I guess I spoiled it 5 seconds before they mentioned it, but that's where we're going. And, yeah. Sue, I guess is how you pronounce that, is about to give us our mission briefing. So I guess we're going to find out now that we're actually going, that place that we're going to is called Dalit. So and apparently Cypher hasn't done too well on these exams in the past, and which is surprising because he's such a, well, I guess it's not surprising. It's surprising because he's so clearly a talented fighter, but at the same time the guy can't even wear his school uniform to the actual exam. So I'd imagine that it'd be kind of hard to pass when you can't even get the basics. It's like taking an exam without remembering to put your name down on the paper. I mean, at some point, you gotta show some of the basic skills before you can move on and start thinking about things like getting an A in a class or even passing an exam. So anyway, we're getting our mission briefing here, so maybe I should focus a little bit more on what's going on here. But apparently Dalit's being attacked by the Galbadian army, and they've abandoned their position in the city, so their army is not doing too well. And basically, our job is to go in there and clean out the army. So we're going to clean out the Galbadian army, and then that'll allow them to regain control of their city. It's not quite clear what the Galbadians are after at this point, but I suppose it doesn't really matter. We're mercenaries, right? Just like Cloud and Final Fantasy VII. We don't care what the job is, we just care if we're getting paid, and in this case, we are getting paid. Yeah, so our job, specifically as people who are taking this exam, is to do just that, to clear out the people in the city. So we're not going to go into the mountains where the Dalit soldiers have been pushed back into. We're just going to clear out the little area, and then I guess that's when the big guns are going to come in and clear out everything else. One thing I do like about this game is the way that they handle some of these mission briefings. It's pretty formal. Obviously, it's not like the actual army, because the army doesn't have all this stuff, but it is kind of on point with what you might expect in more formal briefings. So I kind of like that. I like that they take it somewhat seriously, and so that's one thing that Final Fantasy VIII does do well. Like we are mercenaries, and most of the plans are taken pretty seriously, which I don't know if they always did that quite as well in Final Fantasy VII. It was just kind of, here's your mission, go do it. But they really get into the details of why we're going to do a mission, and they give us all the little details that we need to be able to accomplish our mission, which is nice. And as you saw just a second ago there, I just chose to talk to Zell. You can talk to the other two, and you won't lose any points on your SeeD rank exam thing. But I just wanted to keep this video moving, so I decided to talk to Zell, which is what you need to do in order to keep the plot moving. And so at the end of this conversation, Cypher tells us we need to go outside and check out what's going on. So yeah, let's do that. And now we get really the first major cutscene in the game. And I'm not gonna lie, this is when I first heard about Final Fantasy VIII and I played the demo, the original demo. This is the scene they led with, and I've got to say it was extremely impressive. I didn't think I was a graphics whore, but watching this video the first time, it basically sold me on Final Fantasy VIII by itself. There was such a massive jump between Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII in terms of the graphical appearances. It wasn't even close. It was just this whole cutscene is just amazing to me, and even now it still holds up relatively well graphically. Obviously you can't keep up with Final Fantasy 13, 2 or whatnot, but it's not that far behind. It's pretty solid. So yeah, we'll just kind of let the scene run here as we prepare to storm the beaches here. Apparently the ship doesn't care about going over the rocks, and it doesn't care that it's doing massive damage to the actual kingdom's defenses there, but I guess we don't get paid to worry about that kind of stuff. And at this point we're going to get our even more specific mission, which is to secure the central square. And yeah, and the other thing we have to do here is remember to equip our GS, which I haven't done. So I'm going to do that quickly here. Normally I'd probably edit this out or not even bother showing this, but I might as well show this. So what you can do is if you go to the switch command or the switch menu under the main menu, you can use the command junction exchange, which will allow you to switch all the things you have junction from one character to the next. So I'm just going to switch my junctions to Cypher X. Actually, let's switch that again. Put Cypher on, put that with Zell. Then let's go into our GF menu, unequip Ifrit, and then hop on over to Cypher and put Ifrit on him. Not like it really matters, but that's what I'm going to do anyway. And then we're going to go magic draw item, and magic draw item there. So, alright, let's get this show on the road then. Alright, so again, don't talk to those people, there's Cypher, and we're not going to save here. And now we're going to fight some soldiers. Now, I'm sure I know what you're wondering here. If we're trying not to level and we don't have the card ability, what are we going to do about these guys? Well, the nice thing about this point in the game is that we have Cypher with us. But Cypher is not one of the main characters in this game. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I will tell you that right now. Cypher is not a main character in the sense that he's not going to be in our party. So what we're going to do then is we're going to basically kill off our other two characters and leave Cypher alive and let him basically absorb all the experience for us. So that way we can get the experience, we can fight these guys, or we don't get the experience, but then at the same time we can continue with the story without having to run into any problems. And Cypher is more than powerful enough to be able to take these guys on his own, so there's really no need to be concerned from that perspective. So, fortunately, I'm not going to edit out this battle just because I've already started it, but yeah, we're just going to have to kind of sit here and watch as I beat up on my own characters for a little bit, but yeah, that's basically what we're going to do here. Now, one thing that you can do in this game, and this is actually something that's worth pointing out, is because Cypher isn't going to be part of our party long term, what you could do if you were really dedicated and wanted to do it, is you could actually level up. You could just have Cypher fight a bunch of battles around here, just have him fight over and over and over again, get a ton of experience, and level him up all the way up to level 100, which is the max. And what would happen in the meantime is that your GS would get experience, they would go up to, they get up to level 100 as well, and then not only that, but the way enemies work in this game is as you level up, enemies level up. So right now we're all around level 8 or 9, or sorry, 7 and 8. So the enemies that we fight are going to be around level 7 to 8. And in addition, but then as we level up, they don't remain at that level. They continue to level up and get stronger as time goes on. In addition to that, as enemies level up, the spells that you can draw from them also change. So if you wanted to, you could level Cypher up, and as you did, the enemies that you would fight would basically have stronger spells for you to draw. And I'll quickly show you what spells these enemies have here, but the enemies here come with the basic 3 elemental spells, fire, thunder, blizzard. They also come with cure. So what would happen over time is that they would get the higher level, or higher tier levels, whatever, of those spells. So instead of having fire, they would have Fire, and then eventually Fire-Aga. And so you could get the top tier spells from those basic elemental spells and cure spell basically at the very beginning of the game, which would be useful because you can junction powerful spells, not super powerful, but relatively powerful spells pretty early in the game. In addition, Your GS would all get to about level 100 if you were really dedicated. And in the process, you would basically learn every single ability the GS could learn, the ones that we have so far in the game. And because they're level 100, they'd be way more powerful than any enemy that you would fight, because the rest of your characters would be down to level 7 or 8 once Cypher leaves. Having said that, it's really not worth it to do that. I've done the smack stats thing twice now. This is my third time doing it. The first time I did this, I actually did the whole thing with leveling up Cypher, drawing all the top tier spells, all that stuff. It took about 6 hours to do it, and I like to think that I was moving pretty quickly, and so that's a long time to spend drawing spells, or not drawing spells, leveling up. And the issue here is not so much as the time, but it's the time versus the benefit you get. And the issue is we're going to have access to far more powerful spells in the very near future, and we're going to be able to do so while putting far less time into grinding and other things. And not only that, but we'll also be able to accomplish other goals at the same time. So in every way it's more efficient, and there's really just no reason to do that. If you want to, you can, but I'm not going to. Now, one thing I haven't pointed out about these battles is that Cypher is able to get his limit break at any time. So the way limit breaks work in this game is if you are in critical condition, if your HP is below, well actually I think it's about 33%, but more realistically it's typically around 25% where you start seeing it come up pretty often. You can use your limit breaks. And so unlike Final Fantasy 7 or 9, where you have to have the bar fill up and then once you use it as con, you can continue to use your limit breaks over and over again as long as your health is critical enough. Cypher is a little bit different because Cypher can basically use his limit breaks at any time. So regardless of his current health, he can use the limit breaks, which is pretty convenient, especially for battles like this. And this is actually the reason why I'm not editing out these random battles. Normally I would, but most of these battles at this point are taking less than a minute, so it's more work to edit these battles than just to leave them in, especially since they're short. Since they are so short. However, as the game progresses, if we get to a point where I need to grind or fight enemies, or I'm running through an area and I have to fight a bunch of enemies and the battles are too long, I probably will edit out battles. In this Let's Play, it won't really make that big of a difference because for the most part, I'm not going to be fighting. I'm really not going to be fighting many battles at all. Most of the battles I'm going to be fighting are going to be, I'm going to be doing that off screen. This is going to be more relevant for my. This is going to be more relevant for my next Let's Play or my second project, Xenosaga, when that comes up, because the battles in that game can be very, very long. So, yeah, I think so. Now all we gotta do is we just kind of sit around and hang out for a little bit. And I can't remember if I need to talk to Cypher again. Nope, I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. So now we're just gonna sit around for a little bit. I guess we've accomplished our goal, so we're done with the exam. So all we gotta do now is just wait, and then yeah, I guess they'll come and let us know we're ready to go. That was easy enough. I mean, this was easier than Fire Cavern. I mean, look, Cypher. Cypher's not happy. He knows how easy this exam was. You would think that for a mercenary exam, they'd make us do a little bit more, but I also suppose they don't want us messing up their money. You know, you don't want people messing up your money. That's the one thing you don't want people doing. So I guess I can understand why they might be a little bit more hesitant to have us doing anything. So, alright, so now that we're here, all we gotta do is walk over to Cypher, and yeah, the cutscene progresses from there. And Cypher really just can't take it, apparently. And he's scared off the dog. I mean, you really have to work pretty hard to scare up a dog, so, or especially a dog that seems this friendly, so, or maybe not. Maybe he didn't scare him off. Instead, I guess he was warning us. He was helping us out. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this, but one thing I find interesting is if you look in that sign right in the middle of the screen, it says Ristorante, which is, I believe, Italian for restaurant. Now, I'm kind of curious as to why they have that in here. I know that like in a lot of cities they have the names of restaurants in different languages, and you know, just as kind of a representation of the culture of where the food's coming from, or maybe that's the language that the chefs speak. But I find it kind of interesting that they did that here, because there is no, you know, Italy or anything like that in the world of Final Fantasy VIII, but you know, they clearly have two words for restaurant. So it's, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like when you look at it, you don't really think much about it. You're like, oh, hey, it's a nice little touch. But then when you really think about it, it's like, how does that actually work? But anyway, that's me thinking too hard about the game again. This is something that's gonna happen a lot. So unfortunately, that's just kind of how I am with some of these games. But apparently, apparently we're getting ready to defy our orders, and Squall taking a little dig there at Cypher, and I don't know if I'm going to be I don't know if Squall is going to be thanking you for slashing him in the face. Its scar is kind of permanent, so I don't know. I wouldn't be thanking someone who did that to my face. Yeah, and I think I kind of agree with Zao with this one. I think you don't want to run the risk, Cypher. I mean, you failed this exam like 4 or 5 times. Do you really want to run this risk again? Apparently he does. But I mean, you should know how this works. If you're the leader, you have to take the responsibility. So Cypher just must not care about becoming a SeeD. But given his attitude so far, it seems more like he just cares about the fight than anything else. So that's whatever works for him, I suppose. Now, even though, just like before, even though so basically we still have Cypher in our party, even though we were only controlling Squall and Zal there. So just thought I'd point that out real quick. At some point, well, no, I was thinking about editing. I was thinking about saying I might start editing out some of these battles, but we only really have a couple more, and so I think we should be okay. We should be fine. So, all right. And most of these battles will be pretty short. We're almost at the end of the bridge. But yeah, this is the area if you are going to level up Cypher, if you're going to do the whole Cypher one on the world, basically. The bridge is probably the most efficient place to do that, because the soldiers will give you, don't talk to that soldier by the way, or that one, but the soldiers on the bridge that you fight randomly will give you the most experience consistently. So that's really where you want to go there. And so you could fight up here as well, and there are some enemies that are pretty strong that'll give you some decent experience, but they're pretty rare, and so it's just not the most efficient route to go. And we're actually about to fight one of those stronger enemies right now, so let's take him on. And this is the Anacondor, and he's a pretty strong enemy, nothing that we can't handle. You have plenty of pure spell charges, we got the potions. Just do the same thing as we have been doing, basically. We're just going to use Fire Cross a bunch of times. Unfortunately, the Anacondor will not go down in one hit. But that's okay, we'll just keep doing this. If your health gets too low, just cast Cure on yourself, or use a potion if you don't want to use pure spell charges. You'll be fine either way. I think it takes about 4 or 5 Fire Crosses to finish this guy off, so just so you have a reference for just for pacing yourself. But yeah, he hits pretty hard, so I'm gonna probably need to go ahead and heal after this next battle here. Or not this next battle, but my next turn I'm gonna go ahead and one heal. It'd be rather unfortunate if I died in this situation, especially since this is still kind of the tutorial, not tutorial, but yeah, this is still kind of a tutorial dungeon of sorts. So yeah, let's go ahead and heal ourselves up so we don't have to worry about any issue there. Yeah, so doesn't have the greatest magic, but yeah, it should be sufficient. It should be sufficient. And we're getting a pretty good break with the Fire Cross. Sometimes it takes a couple times for it to show up. If you don't get it the first time, all you have to do is just push triangle, and it'll just keep cycling through. If you haven't changed your control, you might need to use circle, I think, to cycle through the menu over and over again. But so as you can see now, I'm just kind of cycling through, and I stupidly skipped a chance to do a little break there. But yeah, if you run into a situation where you don't get it, just keep doing it over and over again, and eventually it'll show up. And for Cypher, since he always get it, the earlier or the less health he has, it really makes his limit break drop a lot, just because, yeah, he tends to get a lot as it is. So one more should do it, so I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here and not heal. Hopefully this doesn't bite me in the butt, but we'll see. Come on. Off. Nope. Okay. That. Alright. No, this may not end. This may not end particularly well for me. So, alright, now we're really taking a risk here. 6 times. This is the 6th time I've done this, right? 6 times has to be enough to finish this guy off. If not, then, well, I may have just wasted a solid 30 minutes recording this video. So, there we go. He's gone now. So, we'll go ahead and heal after this battle now. But yeah, in theory, that's pretty straightforward. So all you gotta do there is just take him on, use Fire Cross over and over again, and then you're done. Yeah, I really don't think Cypher's committed to this whole becoming a SeeD thing. It really seems like he just enjoys the fight, but after that last battle, we want to go ahead and heal up, and we'll move on then. Same thing as before. Now at this point, again, you can run into random enemies here. You can run into any combination of things. You can run into a soldier. You can run into another Anacondor, and in this case, we got some more just like basic soldiers. So yeah, we'll finish them all off with a quick Fire Cross, and that'll be that. But there's another enemy called geezers that you can run into here, which are extremely weak, and they're pretty common. So that's why it's actually a little bit better, in my opinion, to train on the bridge, because you're pretty consistently going to get battles against 2 or 3 Galbadian soldiers, which will give you about 200-300 experience apiece. If that is, you are going to train on this bridge. And if you decide to do that, then over time, what will happen is you will get a little bit more experience as the soldiers level up. But overall, it's just I don't see the efficiency being there, so I'm just not going to do that. But we're almost at the top here, I think. So let's see what we got going on. Alright, so it looks like there's some kind of building that they're guarding here. What is this? Maybe a cannon? Or some type of weapon? I mean, you got boosters and everything. I mean, this seems pretty serious. I can understand maybe why they're trying to take it over. They're trying to get their hands on these weapons or something. I don't know. We can't let this happen. I mean, clearly the Galbadians are the bad guys, so we gotta take them on. We can't let them take over the world. This is Final Fantasy. No one can take over the world. Can't let that happen. And there's Cypher just admitting that he loves fighting, and apparently he fights because it gets him closer to his dream. Yeah, you just cut up my face. Now you're asking me about my dreams? Come on now. That was intimidating. Or not. Yeah, I mean, Cypher is kind of out there. I don't think you're really going to be able to scare him. But you could break your wrist. You could break you could break your hand punching the ground like that. So I'd probably recommend that you don't do that. But hey, it's the girl from before, the one who was showing us around and who was asking us if we want to join the festival committee. So wonder what she wants with us. She must need something, because clearly she followed us all the way up here. I don't think anyone in the SeeD exam was supposed to be coming up to the top of the mountain. So yes, we are Squad B. Yes, I am also the person who showed you around. You're welcome. I don't really care. Clearly you're a messenger. Why don't you just give us the message? You could just give us the message, you know. Cypher doesn't really care. You could just give us the message. See, he's talking about romantic dreams, like we're in the middle of a battle, and he's thinking about going on dates and stuff. I mean, come on. No, wait, don't. Okay, or you can just run away. Alright, that too. Okay. So now we have to go down there and meet Selfie. Unfortunately, Cypher is gone, but luckily we have been revived. What we need to do, though, is... yeah, we need to heal up because there is a chance that we could run into a random battle, and with 1 HP apiece, that would not take too long for us to die, so we don't want that. But yeah, what you don't want to do is you don't want to jump. You had the option to jump there. If you would have jumped off the cliff, you would have lost a bunch of points for recklessness or something. So, yeah, you don't want to do that. Yeah, you really wouldn't jump off a cliff normally. Yeah. Probably not something you would jump. Yeah, we should get going. Yep. We all have our GFs equipped. Selfie has the GFs that, and all the spells that Ifrit had, or not Ifrit, that Cypher had, so you don't really have to worry about that. And where I was trying to make a joke about why I was making a joke about weapons, I have no idea, because they clearly mentioned that it was the communication tower earlier. So yeah, there's nothing else here. It's just some sort of communication tower. But we will find out why they are here shortly. So, well, maybe not, because Cypher's scaring everyone away in there, but let's go ahead and head on in. Alright, to the left here we have another draw point, and even though I typically am not interested in drawing spells, we do want to draw a spell there. Now, one thing about this area, or this exam, is you get a score based on, one of the things that you're assessed on is how many times you run away from battle. I believe you can run away once from a battle and still get full points. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to run away more than once because we're not leveling up. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but for the most part you want to try to run in straight lines so you don't run the risk of running into extra fights as I am doing now. But again, the SeeD rank doesn't really matter because we're not going to have a very high SeeD rank to begin with, and we can't really maintain a high SeeD rank with our levels being as low as they're going to be throughout the game. But now that we're at a save point, I think this video has gone on more than long enough, so I'm going to take a break here, but next time we will figure out what's going on with that communication tower and hopefully get that message to Cypher. So this has been Marathon Hurdler, and I want to thank you as always for watching my video, and hopefully I will see you next time.